Absalom chose a very wrong path of waging a war against his father, David, just in a greedy attempt to take over power. The war raged fiercely and claimed the lives of a whole lot of innocent 20,000 soldiers of Israel, including Absalom himself. This was a clearly avoidable war, but Absalom's greed brought it. Israel was also divided between loyalists of David and those of Absalom. Watch how the evil plan came about.
Welcome, dear esteemed viewer. In this story, we shall be looking at the war which Absalom waged against his father, David, after usurping authority. Meanwhile, if you've not subscribed to our channel, please endeavor to do so. Also, like the video and share it with your loved ones. Let's take off. After seizing power from his father David, Absalom sat on the throne in Jerusalem. But even as he looked like a king, he still faced one big problem. David was alive and on the run. Now, it was time to make a decision. Should Absalom chase David and finish him off, or wait and build his army? So, Absalom sought counsel from Ahithophel, saying,
Ahithophel, what do you suggest we do next?
Ahithophel responded,
Let me choose 12,000 men and go after David tonight. He's tired and discouraged. I'll strike quickly, kill only him, and bring back all the people to you. Then everyone will follow you as king.
Absalom and the elders liked this plan. It was fast, sharp, and effective. But something tugged at Absalom's heart. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was God. Either way, he wanted a second opinion. So, he also sought Hushai's opinion, saying,
Call Hushai. Let's hear what he has to say.
Hushai walked in, bowing respectfully. He saw the tension in the room. Absalom relayed to him Ahithophel's counsel thus.
Ahithophel wants to chase David tonight. What do you think?
Now, remember, Hushai was secretly loyal to David. He was planted in Jerusalem to confuse Absalom and buy David time. So Hushai gave his own counsel, contrary to that of Ahithophel, saying,
This time, Ahithophel's advice isn't good. You know your father. He's a mighty warrior, angry and alert, like a bear robbed of her cubs. He won't be spending the night with the people. He's hiding in some cave or valley. If your men attack and fall, people will say, Absalom's army is losing. That will crush morale. Here's what I suggest. Gather all Israel, from Dan to Beersheba, thousands upon thousands, and go in with overwhelming force. You yourself should lead the charge. We'll crush David and his men like dew on the ground.
Absalom and the leaders looked at each other. They liked what they heard. It sounded grand and victorious. So Absalom, nodding, responded.
Hushai's plan sounds better. We'll go with his advice.
But what Absalom didn't know was that this delay would save David's life. As soon as Hushai left the palace, he rushed to send word to David. He told two priests, Zadok and Abiathar, who had stayed in Jerusalem to help David. He whispered to them,
Tell David to cross the Jordan River tonight. Don't wait. He's in serious danger.
The message was passed to two young messengers, Jonathan and Ahimaaz. But before they could deliver the warning, someone saw them and told Absalom. They ran and hid in a well in a woman's courtyard. The woman covered the well with a cloth and scattered grain on top to hide it. When Absalom's soldiers arrived there, they asked her sternly,
Where are the men?
The woman pointed calmly and responded,
They've crossed the brook.
The soldiers searched, but found nothing. So they returned to Jerusalem, and the messengers came out of hiding. Jonathan said to Ahimaaz,
Let's go. We have to reach David now.
They rushed to David and warned him. That same night, David and all his people crossed the Jordan River to safety. Meanwhile, back in Jerusalem, Ahithophel saw that Absalom had rejected his advice, and he knew the truth. His plan was the only one that would have worked. He went home, put his affairs in order, and took his own life. His story ended in silence and sorrow. God had protected David once again, this time around, not through swords or armies, but through wisdom, loyalty, and brave messengers. David looked up at the starry sky, thoughtful and grateful. Sometimes, God's rescue comes not in the loud and flashy moments, but in the quiet decisions, the hidden helpers, and the wise delays. When God is on your side, even the smartest enemy plans can fail. Trust His timing. Walk in wisdom. He sees what we can't see. After years of turmoil, King David found himself in a heartbreaking position. His own son, Absalom, has risen against him. The nation of Israel was divided. David had fled Jerusalem, heartbroken, but now it's time to fight for the kingdom and for peace. In David's camp in Mahanaim, early in the morning, David's soldiers gathered around, readying for battle. David stood before his generals and instructed them, saying,
I will divide the army into 3 groups. Joab will lead one, Abishai another, and Ittai the third.
Joab responded respectfully,
You must not go out with us, my king. If something happens to you, it would be far worse than if any of us fall.
David replied, saying,
Very well. I will stay back, but deal gently with the young man Absalom for my sake.
David's heart was not on the battle. It was on his son. In the forest of Ephraim, trees thick, terrain rough, the armies of David and Absalom clashed violently. The battle swept into the forest. David's men fought bravely, and the forest itself seemed to turn against Absalom's army. That day, 20,000 men fell. The trees, the cliffs, and the rough ground claimed more lives than swords did. Suddenly, his hair snagged in the low branches of a large oak tree. As Absalom fled, his beautiful long hair, his pride, became his downfall. Caught in an oak tree, he was left dangling, unable to free himself, while his mule ran on. A soldier saw Absalom and rushed to Joab and reported, saying,
I saw Absalom. He's hanging in a tree.
Joab retorted gruffly at him.
Why didn't you strike him down?
The soldier answered,
I wouldn't harm the king's son. We all heard what David said, how he begged us not to hurt his son.
Joab replied angrily.
I won't waste time like you.
Ignoring David's command, Joab took 3 spears and thrust them into Absalom's heart while he still lived in the tree. 10 of Joab's armor-bearers joined in, finishing him. Joab's soldiers threw Absalom's body into a pit in the forest and piled stones over it. Absalom, the prince who had rebelled, died alone in the woods, far from the palace he had wanted to rule. Joab then turned to a messenger and told him,
Run and tell the king what you have seen.
But Ahimaaz eagerly volunteered, saying,
Let me go, too.
Joab refused, saying,
You're too kind-hearted. The king won't take this news well. So, don't go to deliver this message.
But Ahimaaz insisted, and he ran by a faster path, reaching David before the official messenger. At the city gate, David waited anxiously, eyes scanning the horizon. A watchman saw 2 runners and said to David,
I see 2 persons running towards us, and one of them runs like Ahimaaz, son of Zadok.
David, hopeful, said,
He's a good man. He must bring good news.
Ahimaaz arrived, but could only report in an uncoordinated manner. Bowing, he said,
All is well. God has delivered you.
David asked him intensely.
But what of the young man, Absalom?
Ahimaaz replied hesitantly.
There was a great commotion, and I did not see what happened.
The second messenger arrived. Bowing low, he said,
May all who rise against you meet the fate of that young man.
By this, David knew that Absalom had gone, and he wept bitterly, saying,
Oh, My son Absalom. My son Absalom. If only I had died instead of you. Oh, Absalom, my son, my son.
David's cries filled the palace. Victory had come, but it felt like a terrible loss. David sat alone, head in his hands. Though David's army had won, his heart was broken. He loved his son, even when his son turned against him. This story reminds us that love and pain often walk side by side. David's deep sorrow shows us the heart of a father, longing for reconciliation, even after betrayal. And it also teaches us, pride, like Absalom's, can lead to downfall. But mercy and humility can open the door to peace. Recall that, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. Matthew 5, verse 9. So pursue peace, if possible, with all men. Romans 12, verse 18. Do not make yourself an agent of violence, as it may consume your life. For whatever a man sows, that he shall reap also. Galatians 6, verse 7. Stay humble, cherish peace, and never underestimate the depth of a father's love.
At this point, Absalom had already gone, meaning victory for David. But the victory was an excruciating pain to David. So David kept mourning for his son, forgetting to consider how his soldiers would feel, having risked their lives to save his. It was good that Joab, his army commander, was there to bring him to the right track. He came back to normal and addressed the people. By so doing, peace returned to Israel. Please watch and learn.
Previously, King David's heart was shattered. His son Absalom had rebelled against him and was killed in battle. Though the war was won, the victory felt like a heavy loss. As David mourned, the nation waited, wondering what would come next. David sat, head bowed, face in his hands. Servants stood nearby, silently. David, the mighty warrior, the beloved king, was now a grieving father. The people needed their leader, but their king was lost in sorrow. Joab entered David's chamber, walking boldly, with a serious look on his face. He said to David,
"Today you have humiliated all your men who saved your life, and the lives of your sons, daughters, and wives. They feel ashamed because you're mourning the one who tried to kill you."
David slowly lifted his head, shocked, and Joab pressed on.
"Get up, go out, and encourage your troops. If you don't, not a single man will be with you by nightfall, and this will be worse than anything you faced in your life."
Joab's words were sharp, and they cut through David's sorrow. The king stood up, wiped his eyes, and prepared to face the people. David walked to the city gate. His men were gathered, weary, but watching hopefully. When David took his seat at the gate, the news spread like fire through the camp. "The king is here!" And the people came out to greet him, their hearts lifted. Various Israelite tribes were arguing among themselves. One said,
"King David has saved us from our enemies."
Another said,
"But then we followed Absalom, and he's dead now."
Yet another said,
"Why haven't we brought David back as king?"
Across the land, the people began to talk. They regretted turning against David and wondered how to make things right. In a bid to bring reconciliation, David wrote a letter with a messenger waiting nearby to deliver the message. He told the messenger,
"Tell the leaders of Judah, you are my own flesh and blood. Why should you be the last to bring me back as king?"
He even reached out to Amasa, who had been commander under Absalom, saying,
"Say to Amasa, you are now my army commander in place of Joab."
This was a bold move, one that could reunite the kingdom. The tribes of Judah gathered at the Jordan River to welcome David home. So, Judah welcomed their king with joy. David crossed the Jordan, stepping back into his role as leader of a nation. Shimei came kneeling before David, trembling and apologizing, and said,
My lord, please don't hold my past sins against me. I know I cursed you, but today I come first to welcome you back.
Abishai angrily roared,
Shall we not put this man to death? He cursed the Lord's anointed.
But David, raising hand, countered him, saying,
No, today is a day of peace, not death. Shall anyone die in Israel today?
David chose mercy over revenge. Then appeared Mephibosheth before David, clothes torn, hair untrimmed. David asked him softly,
Why didn't you come with me, Mephibosheth?
And he answered,
My servant Ziba betrayed me. I wanted to come, but I'm crippled. He left me behind and lied about me.
David was torn. He couldn't tell who was lying, so he made a compromise and decreed,
You and Ziba shall divide the land.
Mephibosheth was full of tears and replied,
Let him take it all. I'm just glad you're home safe.
An old man called Barzillai met David as he returned. David, smiling, said to him,
Come with me to Jerusalem, Barzillai. I will take care of you.
But Barzillai declined, saying,
I'm too old, my king. Let me go home in peace, but take my servant Kimham in my place.
David was very grateful and said to him,
Very well. I will do for Kimham whatever you desire.
Israelites and men of Judah argued as David arrived in Jerusalem. An elder said,
Why did Judah bring the king back without us?
A man from Judah quickly replied in defense, saying,
He's our relative. We didn't eat at his expense or take gifts.
Even in celebration, pride and division threatened the unity of the kingdom. Old wounds were not fully healed. David's return was full of emotion, grief, forgiveness, and hope. He mourned a son, reunited a divided people, and showed mercy where others expected punishment. He reminded everyone that leadership is not about revenge, it's about reconciliation. David stood at the gates of Jerusalem, looking out over the people, a thoughtful yet hopeful look on his face. He had regained his throne, though through a very painful crisis. Sometimes, being strong doesn't mean fighting, it means forgiving. And true leadership means bringing people together, even after they've let you down. Even after deep pain and betrayal, healing is possible. Mercy can win hearts where judgment cannot. Like David, we can choose to lead with grace. It is at this point that we wish to draw the curtain on this story. Please keep watching other of our videos and keep learning. May God bless you abundantly for watching. May His Spirit guide you in all you do, like He did to David, that you may be successful in all your life in Jesus' name. Do have a nice day, and bye for now.